Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name, 888-589-8840. Number to call if you want to join the conversation, join the program, 888-589-8840. And back to the situation in Oregon. I mentioned the president 24 times says, you like your insurance, you can keep it. We now know it was a total bald-faced lie. They were told 3 years ago, CBS is reporting, they knew they had some severe internal problems, that the guy that was responsible to kind of monitor it said, look, these people are not up to the task. They're not going to be able to pull it off. That was 3 years ago. And you know who they brought in to fix this thing? The same guy that created the mess. And the reason he's being brought in is because he's a good buddy of Barack Obama. This is crony fascism is what this is. This is the worst form of crony fascism. This is from the New York Post. A tech firm linked to a campaign donor crony of President Obama not only got the job to help build the federal health insurance website, but is also getting paid to fix it. It's the same guy that broke this thing, the same guy that built the website that does not work, no bid contract, is the same guy now that Obama is shoveling more money into his wallet to come in and fix this thing. I mean, this is so reprehensible. It is just obscene on so many levels. This guy's name is Anthony Welters, a top campaign bundler for Obama and frequent White House guest, is the executive vice president of United Health Group, which owns the software company now at the center of the Obamacare website fiasco. United Healthcare Group subsidiary Quality Software Services, Inc., QSSI, which built the data hub for the Obamacare system, has been named the new general contractor in charge of repairing the glitch-plagued healthcare.gov. And then the article goes on. Welters and his wife, Beatrice, how do you say that? Beatrice? Anyway, they've shoveled piles of cash into Obama's campaign coffers between $200 and $500 grand. So we saw the same thing with all of the alternate energy, the solar energy and the coal-powered cars, same deal. President Obama repaying with your money and our money these taxpayer dollars, repaying them for raising money and donating to his campaigns. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just obscene on a level that you cannot even begin to fathom. That is crony fascism. President Obama shoveling good money after bad to his buddies who raised $500,000 for his campaign. Number to call if you want to join the program, 888-589-8840. Here's that story out of Oregon from the Associated Press. 150,000 Oregonians enrolled in individual health care plans will see their plans canceled by the end of the year because they don't provide the minimum level of coverage required under the health care law. And by the way, in a month into this deal, now we're into the second month, this is November 4, so a month plus 3 days, not one single person has enrolled in the Oregon Health Exchange. Not one single solitary individual has been able to get insurance through the Oregon Exchange. Now, they've enrolled a whole bunch of people in Medicaid. I mean, like 62,000 people have been enrolled in Medicaid. 888-589-8840. Jeff, let's grab the soundbite A11, the Dianne Feinstein. This is Dianne Feinstein on with Bob Schieffer, CBS News yesterday. Let's listen.
The president said in the beginning, if the one thing was that if you liked the health care program you had, you could keep it. We now know there was debate within the administration before he said that as to whether that was actually a promise that could be kept. Should the president not have made that statement?
Well, as I understand it, you can keep it up to the time, and I hope this is correct, but this is what I've been told, up to the time the bill was enacted. Then after that, it's a different story. I think that part of it if true, was never made clear.
You know, the cluelessness here is staggering. This is a woman that voted this bill into law. She cast her vote to make this bill the law of the land, and she's in worse shape than Nancy Pelosi. Remember, Pelosi's the one that said you got to pass it to find out what's in it. Dianne Feinstein still has no clue. As I understand it, she says, this is what I have been told. Madam, this is a bill that you voted on, and you have no idea what was in this bill that you voted on. And she says, look, you could keep your insurance up to the time the bill was enacted, up until Obamacare became the law of the land. Yeah, you could keep your insurance up to that point. After that, it's a different story. This is just absolutely amazing to me, the stunning level of incompetence and ignorance at every level. Now, here's Bob Schieffer, clip 6, Rob. We can jump down to there. Here's Bob Schieffer's commentary on this rollout of Obamacare.
Maybe I was thinking about that movie Dumb and Dumber, but as I watched the disastrous rollout of Obamacare coming as it did on the heels of the Republican shutdown of the government, the phrase that kept running through my mind was worse and worser. Is worser a word? Well, actually it is. We looked it up. The shutdown was the worst, but this thing is worser. If we thought the partisan blather couldn't get thicker or sillier than it got during the shutdown, well, we now know. By now, we have heard from all the people whose fault it wasn't. We've heard all the talking points, and some of the critics were all but foaming at the mouth. It was the Washington we have come to know. All talk, all the time, but at the end of the day, just another example of how government seems incapable of making things better, and it never seems to learn. Does anyone believe that successful startups like Amazon or Google would have risked launching their programs before they were properly tested? There may be a lesson there if those involved could spend less time refining the talking points and more time actually trying to make things work. The way this thing is going, it is a good thing we have a word like worser.
So that's Bob Schieffer, and you'll notice there what's significant, and then we'll go to the phones, 888-589-8840. What's significant about Bob Schieffer is where he lays the blame. Did you catch that? He says the conclusion is this is just another example of how government seems incapable of making things better, and it never seems to learn. Two things significant about that. Number one, he doesn't blame Obama for any of this. It's like there's this amorphous entity out there called government that has a mind of its own. It's like robotic. And that's the thing that's messing this thing up for everybody. President Obama's got nothing to do with it. His staff has nothing to do with it. His team has nothing to do with it. Liberal policies have nothing to do with it. It's this amorphous, anonymous entity called government. So number one, he's covering for Obama. It's not really Obama's fault. It's the government's fault. And then number two, this is the most cogent argument you can have for smaller government from Bob Schieffer. Government seems incapable of making things better and never seems to learn. Well then, Bob, let's get it out of the way. What do you think we have been saying since 1776? Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Lee, Plano, Texas. If we can bring Lee in from Plano, Texas. There we go. Lee, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind? Lee, do we have you? Okay, let's see if we can drop down and pick up Christopher in Richmond, Virginia. Christopher, are you with me? Yeah, okay, we lost Christopher. Okay, we're having a little bit of trouble with our call screener software. Let's go back to Lee in Plano, see if we can pick him up. Lee, are you with me? Ah, that's weird. I guess we don't have Lee. So we're having some, apologize for the problems we're having, technical difficulties with the call screener software here. We'll see if we can get that fixed by the break. Now, there was another problematic rollout, healthcare. That was President Bush's big expansion of Medicare Part D back in 2003, 2004. I did not like it at the time. I opposed it at the time. I don't like it now. And you know who else didn't like it at the time were Democrats. And here is Hillary Clinton. This is clip 5, Rob. Hillary Clinton talking about her objection to President Bush's expansion of government health care. Listen to this.
Because I worried that the bill itself was fatally flawed in its design. I voted against it. But as the date approached for the January 1st implementation, I became even more concerned. And yet, despite the concerns of many about what was going to happen, we were unsuccessful in either slowing down the process or making it work better. I mean, it is an absolute embarrassment, outrage, deep, heartbreaking disappointment. I know any program is difficult, but I would remind us we implemented the entire Medicare program in 11 months back in 1965, and we didn't have computers. We're going to talk about facts, not spin, not rhetoric, not propaganda. We're going to talk about facts because people's lives are at stake. I, for one, believe we should scrap this and start over. We are spending hundreds of billions of dollars on an inefficient delivery of a plan that could be done in a much more cost-effective way. We have taken taxpayer dollars by the billions and transferred it to the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies as a way to entice, even bribe them to provide drug coverage to the poorest of the poor and the sickest of the sick. That is not in keeping with either our values or, frankly, what should be expected of high-performance government.
Well, that's Hillary Clinton. That was good advice then, and it's even better advice now. This is what Hillary Clinton said about this expansion of healthcare, government healthcare in 2004. Scrap it and start all over. So good advice then, good advice now. You've been hearing some spots about the Billy Graham presentation on Thursday night, My Hope America. This is with Billy Graham. It'll be right here on AFR, November 7th. That's Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Central Time on the AFR network. You can visit the website watchbillygraham.org for the TV station cable network broadcast time, or you can simply listen to AFR on Thursday, November 7th. That's Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. Central. Billy Graham speaking from his home with a nationwide gospel message. Some churches I know are streaming it into their sanctuaries. Anyway, go to watchbillygraham.org or listen to AFR Talk Thursday night. Focal Point, AFR Talk, back in 2.